This clip is brought to you by BatterOnline.com.
So we're gonna pick back up from there. We appreciate everybody tapping in, and we've got some fan questions what we're gonna get to and stuff as well. So, but before that, we're just gonna run through the rest of the album real quick. And I don't want to minimalize the album in any sense because, as I said, it was a great album. So many tracks myself I enjoyed on there just from the sound and the style. One thing about it, it wasn't indicative of a typical No Limit album at that time because of the production being different, not being a, like an 85% beats by the pound produced album. But the tracks to me was still slamming. The beats was still tight. It just had such a different feel and effect. Tracks like The Day that made me boss, The Last Outlaw, one of my favorite tracks on there. Just the lyricism about that is just through the roof, and just the little things you dropping out there. The I'll Be Your Huckleberry. You got the Doc Holliday Tombstone lines and references, all sorts of stuff. I think you even got Cowboy Bill Watts in there. It was like, super.
Yeah, right on.
So, but it's such a dope album. Obviously, from the No Limit side of things, it featured Master P and Mystical and Bring the Noise, which I thought was another tight track KLC produced. And you had Fiend, Moby Dick.
Look, for correction, my brother, not cutting you off, but adding two.
Go ahead.
Pimp C, that's the only Pimp C and Young Bleed recording you have in life. Pimp C produced Bring the Noise, and I ended up with the record indirectly, you know what I mean? And we talked about it before he passed away, so rest in peace to the Pimp Chad.
Wow, that's crazy. Listen, I love Pimp C, but yeah, on Wikipedia, I don't know, they do have his name on the credit, but they have KLC, Moby Dick, and Craig B.
Yeah.
I know a lot's happened with that catalog, so maybe when they're re-identifying things and stuff now. So Pimp actually produced that. What was your relationship like with Pimp C, man? Because Pimp's such a legend.
Me and Pimp was brothers from other mothers, man. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to Mama West. Mama West had become my mother in time, my Texas mother, one of my Texas mothers, as well as knowing his kids. So to be able to get that up close and personal. When I was coming up, like in the early 90s, I can't think of the old man. He was in his 60s. We knew I drove Cadillacs and stuff all the time. I had a 65 Cadillac, a 79 Cadillac, and a 83 Cadillac. And one of the old men, in the neighborhood say, man, you know Chad? You ever met Chad? I knew some Chad. Matt Manelli's name is Chad. And I feel my brothers in the street name is Chad. So I know some Chad, but what Chad? Hey, Chad Butler, man, Pimp C, UGK. And he was an old man talking to me in one of my in the parking lot of an apartment I was living in. I was like, nah, but I know about UGK. I love to meet, Pimp and Bond. He said, man, you remind me a lot of Chad. And God worked in mysterious ways. Later in life, I would come to find out I used to go to Crowley, Louisiana and do my hustle thing. One of my homeboys by the name of Dion. Maybe Dion Walker, long time since I started, brother. We worked at Pizza Hut together. He was a delivery driver. And he was new to Baton Rouge, and we became good friends. He had a old school white something Oldsmobile, man. That he was from Crowley, Louisiana, and his daddy was the sheriff of Crowley. So I used to go back and forth and, do my hustle thing way out there, country, beautiful Black Hazard County town. You know what I mean? And the world ago to knowing this as well as myself, to learn that Pimp C written from Crowley, Louisiana. So them southern roots, I was wondering what was the connection between Texas and the old man. So it started to break itself down in time, and it's like in the picture, it got closer and closer, and eventually me and Chad would meet. Shouts out to the boys over there at Trill Entertainment, Turk and Mel, that where Mel would introduce me to Pimp on the phone. And Turk introduced me to Bond. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. Sometimes light-skinned brothers don't get along and dark-skinned brothers don't get along, vice versa. So when you look at the combination of Pimp and Bond, the same combination of Turk and Mel, the light brother introduced me to the dark brother and vice versa. You see what I'm saying? So me and Pimp got really cool with each other, as well as Mama West over the phone trying to work out records and do deals. I had a Pimp offer me to do a record. I didn't know how much love he had for me, how fond he was of me till in time, and as well as Bond. But I had a closer rapport with Pimp. all the time. He'll call and check on me. I check on him before and after the pen. So it was makers between me, him, and Pimpin' Ken and C-Bo at the time. I was finna sign with Woodwill or UGK Records. Shout out to the whole UGK record family. So that up close and personal we became in life. You see what I'm saying? Throughout these travels. So I miss my brother dearly to this day. Long live the pimp, man. You know what I mean? Always. Yes, sir.
Church, man, definitely. You know, I think a lot of people, from what they've experienced of Pimp C, even, you know, just fans through his music and stuff, they held him in a high regard just for the type of spirit and energy that he had. You could just see that pervade through his music, and just you know, the impact that he left on hip hop is always going to still stand forward, going forward. You know, so definitely a huge RIP to Pimp C. He one of my favorite rappers of all time.
Oh, damn. One of the greatest.
You know, yep. So, you know, just back on your album slightly, you know, we did have obviously features from the concentration camp, Lucky Knuckles, Lay Low.
Yeah.
You also had a couple of No Limit features. Some of the fans have asked, who was your favorite artist to feature with from the tank on your album?
On that particular album, I mean, everybody that contributed. You know, I feel like it was like a mass movie, and everybody played their role. And at the end, you know what I mean? You can't move a pebble without, you know what I mean, fucking up the whole, you know what I mean? Here again, the evolution of that record. So I don't have no regrets where it's concerned. You know, I'm music before the business, and I grew into the business of just being a natural born artist. You know what I mean? I love the way it displayed itself and everybody and the parts that everybody played to make it what it is. So, you know, I look at music like doing movies on record before we get to the video. But if I can't see it as a whole, then I, you know, never complete that mission. When it becomes complete, and I'm whole with it, hoping to expect the world to feel the same. I feel.
No doubt. We recently did an interview with Sean Brock of Pen and Pixel Graphics and stuff as well. Obviously, those guys were behind the album cover. What did you think of the album cover, and did you have any input in the art direction towards it?
You know, that here again, that was a shared effort. I give credit where credit is due. I originally wanted to shoot it one or two ways. When you listen to Ghost Rider has the theme from The Exorcist in. I walked along happy in the studio one day just playing it. You know, he was a phenomenal musician. The keyboard, to the guitar, you name it. And, you know, went out to be, you know, the legend that he is to this day. But that Exorcist theme made me wanna, I was trying to figure how to shoot an album cover for Balls in My Word. But between The Exorcist and going back as far as we could to real, regular street music, you see what I'm saying? And coming from the downtrodden into back into the glory of God. It's my pictures and depictions. You know, pictures say 1,000 words. We can get into the cover. What have we? But I thought back to the blues and Robert Johnson. And I wanted to shoot the Crossroads picture. Eventually, I did that for a mixtape later in life. But originally, I wanted to shoot the Crossroads scene. Me coming from the South, headed north, looking east and west. Being a baby or a blues baby to the music, and definitely, you know, the rap game, which is just a modern day blues. Anything other than that is gospel before and African music and what have we, you know, for as our evolution, the music genres throughout the world. So that was my aim, the essence, my granddaddy being a blues man, that type of thing. Then I wanted to take and do that picture. A lot of the guys, it was over their head, you know what I mean? We young, early 20s, different things like that, you know. Maximum was still teens, 18, 19, so everybody didn't quite know what I was talking about. So that was the idea that I pitched around then, going back to Ghost Rider. I eventually shot a cover like that for an album called Once Upon a Time in America, 2007. So all my videos came
into fruition.
Yeah, in time. But that was the original aim. So what I did, we went to Pen and Pixel. As you see this green screen behind me, we were shooting on the white backdrop at the time. And what I did was take that pose, or imagine that without everything around it. And I want to create either this Crossroad this Exorcist background, like the priest of the Exorcist movie cover. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna go into this wicked world and do this exorcism, spiritual reckoning, lyrical reckoning, just like battling and every other kind of God, good and evil confrontation.
Right.
Was my whole thing since birth, Gemini theory, you know what I mean? So that balance. But that was the aim. But when they sent the picture back to me, it originally was just everything you see right now, but me with my face looking up. And if you had the original cover, if you open it up, I had a picture with like a leather vest, and hair was kind of slicked back, and I was kind of looking up like I was praying kind of picture. That was one of the picture we took, you know, within the photo shoot that somebody picked and put on the inside of the cover. So I kept it for the inside of the cover, but I took my head out of the cloud, just left it. Okay, I could define it from this standpoint. Still that blues travel or travel period in the Christ-like comparison or no comparison to Christ. But if you're going to be Christ-like, you got to look into it and get into it. You know what I mean? So the tigers signify the wilderness that we coming out of, or we coming out of, like the people as a whole. The stairway is the stairway to heaven. You know, it's mentioned in the Bible, the many matches in the sky, on my way to this match in the sky. But coming out all the wild I go into, God had graduated me from the streets, from the underground, into the mainstream. You see what I'm saying? But don't forget God. So that been all of you can fast forward it, look at it from now look at my anthology from Balls in My Word to There Is a God. You see what I'm saying? And now look at the covers. And you know, if you die hard bleed fan, you can read between the lines and hear where I've been coming from the whole while. So I learned to grasp that picture, which was my original idea, the way it was constructed. But it made a perfect sense in my life. And so I coincided with it. And here again, the rest is history.
Oh, that's pretty dope, man. And you know, it's like I said, when I was speaking to Shorty, we were just looking at the aspects of how things have changed so much technologically now with even just creating covers and stuff, but the hard work and the emphasis and just the creative vision that went into it. I don't think a lot of people realized or took it for granted. They just seen the covers. So, and there's stuff that I guess we're not even going to pick upon as well. So even you just breaking down some of those aspects right there as well is definitely great. And I'm sure will be appreciated by a lot of fans. We've got a couple of more fan questions here. We're going to go through them quite quickly. One of them's from Timothy McGee, and he says, I want to know what is your best album out of the ones you did with C-Loc? So I'm guessing you may be asking a personal favorite of yourself. I know it might be hard to pick.
Well, I love, I'm not going to participate in something I don't love for starters. So all the albums, but my pivot, it just happened to be here again, my incline and evolution. Pivot to that. And the last time kind of the last time I do a record, didn't know about, we was on our way to the breakup of the group. We had NWA thing going on behind the scenes and that type of thing. So by the time Balls in My Word, that's my highest record to date. Billboard and Gold in 3 weeks, you know what I mean? That type of thing. It's like my Michael Jackson Thriller, you know what I mean? The world, if you don't know anything else, you know anything about it, you don't know that for starters, and if you roll along the way, you can know about the rest of the record at that time. But all the records before that, the Whatever, Who's Gonna Ride, the self-titled Concentration Camp, Holocaust, other than Balls in My Word, we said like 4 or 5 records that I recorded with Loc. You see what I'm saying? And from there, we never recorded again. And unfortunately, we still it's still a bittersweet thing. We hadn't talked in over 20 years, based on that breakup. As little boys, 12, 13 years old, we always was home. When that happened, it was a blessing and a curse, and that strayed us away. That wasn't why I participated. You know what I mean? On the homie, on the hood, on family, man, on God. At the end of the day, for that part, if I got any regrets, I did anything I could to try to help keep us all afloat, you know what I mean? As well as anybody else. Just end up going in directions with kids. So, put it a certain bitterness. Well, that'll be the last time we'll make records. I want to say, and I had records around the camp, and other things we had. So I think he went out and put out a few other extras up, kind of like a Snoop left Death Row, and we still kept hearing Snoop records up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But other than that, personally recording and hanging and doing what we used to do, I would love of it that part. If that had died at that point.
Yeah, that's a shame. You know, I know a lot of people, hopefully one day, we never say never. It'd be good to hear you and C-Loc on something once again. We've got another fan question here from TK Jones, and he says, any good C-Loc stories?
Say it again.
TK Jones, he says, have you got any good C murder stories?
Oh, yeah, man. Let me think of a good C murder. Free C murder, man. Free BG for that matter. We glad. Welcome home to Matt. We still family, man. So, you know, blood in, blood out. That's how my papa raised me. My papa being my stepfather, being a guy from the Ninth Ward in New Orleans. So I was kind of raised both in both of those worlds. So it's nothing but love from New Orleans, you know, contrary to the rumors. Real people do real things. My granddaddy actually died in that veterans hospital in New Orleans in 1984, 85 at the latest. But C, man, yeah, you got me digging way back in my archive with C, man, and it's just, yeah, that's really sweet. You know, I knew C before, you know, the term he's doing and just a lot we was trying to do, you know, crazy about each other, you know, and a lot he did for my family, preached Baton Rouge through the sports program indirectly. So if you knew C had a heart of gold with the media and the people playing out, you know what I mean? I know the brother, and I speaks with him sometimes. Shouts out to Cutboy G De Niro, the president of True Records that still exists, man, you know, for those that don't know. So it's a deep thread, man. I'm trying to think of how to put it, man. Nothing but love and smiles, you know what I mean? When I'm around C, you know, I'm really trying not to tell, you know, the dark side story about, you know, I can tell you different things that don't have nothing to do with me that I died laugh at about C and different ways he done stood up for me, you know what I mean? In the time that what was going on, but I didn't know what was going on, you know, the whole family, you know, Silk too for that matter. So I became baby brother, baby cousin, you know, kind of like I describe myself, my family, street family connection with No Limit is like this. If you look at the Body movie, how Mac 10 was, where he came around sometime. You see what I'm saying? And shouts out Mac is one of my brothers on the strength. And we talked recently, man. I'm working on a record for me and Mac 10 as we speak. Okay. But certain things you see, you know, my mama always say warning come before destruction. So God will show you what's to come, just like prophets and anything else in the vision. And one day, you know, you could ignore it or what have we, and you find yourself in a deja vu. Man, I saw this before. He prepared you that you finna go through, that type of thing. So, you know, when you look at me, look at it from that perspective, you know, where it's love, but I was always from somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? And I go back and do my thing. You know, everybody call me when you need me or whatever the case might be. And I'm back to where, you know, I originally was doing. So that's our connection. Nothing but love, man, at the end of the day.
No doubt, man. And, you know, definitely I want to say shouts out to Cutboy G De Niro as well. He definitely a drawing, you know, solid brother. And, you know, nothing but respect for him. But Tamika Diaz as well, you know, respect to those guys. And, you mentioned Mac 10. Great to hear you mention Mac, because I was saying to somebody the other day, you know, I'm a huge fan of Mac 10. You know, I haven't really heard much from him recently, but definitely a huge Mac 10 fan and stuff as well. So great to hear that you guys will be working on some new stuff and that together. We got a couple of more fan questions. It's just, and then we'll start winding down. Let me see. One of them is from Retro Esso. And he says he wanted to know about the concentration camp, but we've answered that. But he also says, how was it working with a young Mabuzi? And he also asked about the song The Sickest. Or is that the reference for it?
Okay, say the last part again. How was it working with who?
With a young Lil Boozy.
Oh, working as a young Bleezy. He said young Bleezy.
No, working with a young little Boozy Badass.
Oh, Boosie. Okay, okay. Yeah, man. It's off the thread. With Boo. You know, it's bloodline. Blood in, blood out, man. We family. You know. I grew up since we can remember with his older cousin and different things like that. We all but have a 10-year gap between our ages, I believe. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, I think. As a matter of fact, I think Boosie's birthday is the same as my first daughter and my oldest daughter. But I think he born somewhere like 83. So imagine I'm 9 years old. See, I didn't grow with him directly like that. But later on in life, we will hook up and family will reroute me to family. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a magic. Anytime we in the studio, there's a few unreleased records, you know what I mean? I don't know what the situation is to each his own at the end of the day. But before, his penitentiary term and after, you know what I mean? And we got a few in-between records that the public forget about. I Smoke, I Drink. Me, rest in peace to our brother, Mr. Magic, and Boosie, yeah, in place of Soldier Slim. On that third verse, I Smoke, I Drink. And it's another record that we did a long time ago, Rest in the Homie from the top of South Baton Rouge, Big Chill a few years ago. I forget the name of that record. So we probably recorded 4 to 5 songs in life throughout time. But a few records, they unreleased. Other than that one record, and I forget what Chill record was called. That'll probably be the only, I don't know what time to do, but as far as that, and just like I say to say this, magic every time. The rest is the business. So, hopefully in the future, we'll get some of them records. But yeah, man, that's found it, so it's nothing but love at the end of the day, man. So yeah, I better can I explain it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. And we also had a fan question that asked what happened to the relationship with Strange Music. I mean, we was going to get to that a bit further in the interview because it was reported that you signed with Strange Music and they had a subsidiary, it says, called Strange Lane Recordings in 2011. Also, when you had a deal with Sebo's West Coast Mafia Records. So, I suppose there's 2 questions within that there on the relationship with Sebo and working with those guys and the West, and then also on working with Strange Music.
Oh, yeah, man. The West became my second home after my royal beginnings, but to this day, Bo was my bro for life, you know what I mean? We big bro, lit bro shit for life. And just saw originally, he's just out here originally, so we still keep up with each other and, whenever on a need be basis. Music and however, you know what I mean. For Rewind the Tape, it's that same Southwest here again, evolution. For me, really shouts out to my man Dave Weiner, which was like I forget what Dave's exact position was, but he was just one of the Italian guys up, and he was like what I used to call the Rick Rubin of the West Coast, the fraud and rough. You see what I'm saying? So man, I didn't know Dave since 97. Dave had become in time the vice president of Sprint. And then between the records and what me and Bo was deciding we was going to do, to keep in mind, I've been down with West Coast Mafia and Sebo in particular, since, for life, as far as being a fan to the music. You have a real live person to connect that started like 2003, 4, somewhere like that. For damn near 20 years now. But we're going in and out of records and different things, and he helped rebuild my independence. Told me, taught me some things for just the whole independent game. Because he always been, you see what I'm saying? So we started to run together day and night, from different parts of the country. But saying this to say this, just that Southwest evolution, Dave Weiner, on into Dave becoming vice president at Flame. And in between our transition to time in both, I worked with guys in the Kansas City area, shots out the Trump Slide, my man on the waters out of Dallas, Texas. Who's working on a record called 3-Headed Monk. So Dave, I didn't, I was a Tech Nine fan, but I wasn't. I wasn't. Not to say I wasn't into the whole strange, different thing. I wasn't familiar with it. Is a choice of better word. So I knew about tech since gang related, since questions, phenomenal. Who is this guy? But saying to say this, I didn't know that the compound and everything was in Kansas City. What was going on? It's really where it was from. We thought Tech Nine was from the West Coast. The West Coast kind of base. Yeah, everybody on the show, and just how it came about. So I'm wrapping my mind around this whole thing. My guy Chauncey was kind of shopping the record at the time, and he had to connect with Dave. I think they was riding together one day and playing, and hearing me on. Yeah, man, that's Bleed, hey. I say, like that, Bleed, I know where's Bleed nowadays? We had talking for years. Put us on the phone, and we reconnected. We asked what I had going on. And I explained to him at the time, we was the in-between countries, what we was doing for West Coast Mafia, next project, music, solo artists. I still maintain my independence. I did co-op deals. That's fraud. So, 50% West Coast Mafia, 50% detention homes. That's my first label. Then eventually Trap Go and really started the trap with the strange deal. So if you look at the disc and it's a blank part of it, I'm still trying to figure out a logo. I came up with a whole other label called Trap Go Entertainment. But Dave was to walk in to Tech Nine physically and verbally, eventually, and Travis O'Quinn, the whole family over at Strength. I had maybe a 2 years or so run over there, trying to do one record just in a test series. So it was a different lane, different market. The only guy that from South over there with a different texture of music that was going. So that was a whole another breaking into. But at the end of the day, I had a good run. Whatever took place business-wise, and the same thing, kind of situation other than West Coast, my still being in style with me and the constituents throughout, you know what I mean, the different companies. Everything else kind of fell from under me. You know what I'm saying? Priority, the Springs, West Coast Mafia, always been independent, Body here, Roy Jones, I'm still good with my brother. So that part of all of us trying to, continue this music journey. It come with trial and error. Again, I don't have no regret at the end of the day, but that's what led into that the strange situation.
Okay.
It was.
And I mean, you mentioned Trapdoor Entertainment, so you kind of brought us forward with it and stuff as well, which is, you established that around 2010 itself. Now, I mean, you probably had, obviously, the ideas and stuff around it, or maybe some stuff prior. But in terms of albums, you released Living, What a Life, and most recently in 2020, Signs of Wonder through Trapdoor Entertainment. So you've been like now, you find on the other side just doing things completely yourself, and you've got other artists and stuff that you're actually going to be pushing now as well.
Yeah, man, we 20 artists plus under the umbrella. And most recently now, and I don't know if you hip to this, but if not, let me enlighten you, my brother. I released a record maybe about 6 or so months ago now this year. It's the most recent record called Diaries of God. So if anybody that, hasn't heard that record, it's a kind of like a street gospel record in that sense. You know what I mean? Still me from my same God perspective, but more in the pure clarity this time without the profanity. So
what platforms do you have it on?
On all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, you name it. It's out there. First single released a song called That Water. The video is on YouTube and what have you. So yeah, Diaries of God, spelled DAREIZA, God, G-O-D. Diaries of God, like trying. And it was really, Signs and Wonders was really the prequel to that. You see what I'm saying? When you look at it in that direction and definition, but it kind of, I had plans, I believe, for another album. And when the world changed, the COVID hit, I had 360 turn. That was the one thing that I felt like I was all the Delta. You know, the one thing a lot of people wasn't mentioning that was forgetting. You caught break plays and rather win the last days or what have you. I'd rather be prepared. I don't want to play to the last minute. So I'm gonna keep that as a reminder. And for those that may have forgot about it, I wanted to use that portion of my life and represent that part to the world. Don't forget that.
Definitely, that's important, man. I'm definitely gonna go and find my way to checking that out. You know, even just how you broke it down and explained that, just as an extension from Signs and Wonders, but still just being able to see the bigger picture. See, it's still a part of it in a sense, and just the definition of how you just explained, like just going into the aspect of things from I don't want to say a biblical or a spiritual standpoint, just a different vantage point and stuff, because you've always been super creative and stuff as well, just as a storyteller. So I think just touching those kind of topics and stuff now, especially with your level of experience and maturity, will definitely come off well. So I'm definitely going to look forward to hearing that one, and we'll get a review and stuff going for it as well, also on the website, you know, definitely.
Okay, I appreciate that, my brother. Much love.
And so much nowadays, no disrespect. I'm still a fan. No disrespect. You know, there's so much music to keep up with nowadays. You know, and yeah, you know, but you know, and it's just that I suppose that ties in with where we're at now, just technologically, because we've seen such a vast advancement of people being able to produce music. They say hundreds of thousands of even albums and songs being uploaded, you know, per month and per year and stuff like that as well. So there's a huge magnitude of music out there, and you know, people promoting their stuff. And how do you find it? Even just you've existed over a long period of time, just with your recording tenure, but with the modern industry and stuff now, I know that it's got its advantages and stuff like that, being able to put your stuff out more independently, digitally and stuff like that. Are you a fan of the modern industry, or you know, how do you find it as an artist coming from your generation to where it's at now?
It's the same but different. You know what I mean? When you talk about God, space, and time, and cyberspace, it always been there. You know what I mean? As man, we slower with technology beyond, you know, what's beyond us. And the technology is here now, at least a portion of it, that in advance, you know what I mean? The ancient time into this modern time, man. So it's like, for me, it's learning all over again, you know what I mean? Like I said, we mentioned earlier, this didn't exist. You know, we wasn't able to do interviews like this here. So if you wanted to hear about your favorite artist or what have you, you had to go to the concert, you know, watch BET, Rap City, Yo MTV Rap to get a magazine. That was the closest. There wasn't no access. You know, you could Facebook, Twitter, and what have we. It's the whole same, but different world. You know what I mean? So take the bitter with the sweet here again. I feel like for what it's worth, it's like marketing, being able to having the access to, you know, be your own creator. Just in a, you know, if you could imagine God out of nothing, you can create stuff and be tangible. What have we with it? You know, bringing zero to a matter. You know what I mean? So it's a beautiful thing. I just don't let, just like anything else. And what I remind people of, you know, walking to heaven, all this confusion, everything it started there. One sense with the word. So it all go back to God in the heavens 360 degrees and all the in between, everything. God say, see me and everything. So I look at it on that scale. You see what I'm saying? Good and evil always exist. But it's just like here again, Mustafa telling Simba, man, you can do everything over here in this portion of the junk. But don't say as God telling Adam and Eve, they can do anything out here in this garden. Don't go fuck with that tree, man. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. So when they get to where all these senseless killings, these kids and all that shit there, I can't stand it. You see what I'm saying? The kids got the whole world in their hands. You know, if I'm in social studies class and I got my phone, I got a chart to look at whatever the fuck and do what I want to do. What you gonna do? Read that book or Google? You see what I'm saying? So in that sense, it's like overall access to the world. And you know, it done changed the kind of life definition and told us the very fabric of the old family tradition. These kids don't even go play football outside, basketball, you know what I mean? I remember being in the studio session. Shout out to my man Chuck work clothes. And my homegirl Miss Nikki up in Cincinnati and Indiana. And we doing a record for the first time. For the first time I go in the booth, and I'm used to, like I said, I've been recording since '85, literally. And it's that chemistry, it's everybody in the room being focused on and wanting to see this happen, driving everybody, inspiring and motivating everybody. I'm in the booth doing my thing, you know, and it's, you know, one of my old timers used to tell me there's always a joke on the guy with the headphones on. You can't hear what's going on in the world around you out there. I come out the booth and everything, it looked like a doctor's office. Yeah, 4 or 5 seats on the wall, on this wall, and the same across from it, and this wide of a space, me to you, everybody looking at their phone. That fucked my head up, you know, if I can say that. In the studio, damn, it ain't the same. Yeah, man, oh shit, you see that, the face. Shouts out to my DJ, Bout It, Bam Bam, man. We grew up right around the corner from each other, east side of Mayfair. So somewhere like 11, 12 years old. Nobody was home. Our parents worked, you know, in the afternoon. So, you know, I steal my pop record. I had turntables. He had turntables. So when I come home from school, I go straight to them records, play the records, and just, you know, learn how to splice, tape, and record when we didn't have the equipment to studio record, to extend the beat and all that type of thing. So I called him to the crib. All the things we could be doing after school, I would love for me. He'll walk way around the corner. I walk up the block, meet him halfway, just to bring him to the house, to play a Marvin Gaye record, with the instrumental part on it, and to rap my ball. And if I saw a certain look on his face, I knew I had to. So that part of it, that whole very fabric, you know what I mean? It puts you out of touch with humanity and out of touch with reality in some senses. And that's anything. Too much water will kill you. You got 2 pints of blood in your body. You drink too much water, you'll dilute yourself. Too many pints of liquor, what have you. You see what I'm saying? So too much of anything is my point, to be oversaturated. If you're using it for the better good and it's working out, people can get jobs and educate themselves beyond what we could think of. Yeah, bless up, man. That's what it's supposed to do. That's up.
Well, I think that's pretty dope, and it's one thing that you've definitely expressed throughout the course of this interview was like having a keen sense of balance, you know, and that there's different polarities and stuff out there, and as you said, sometimes it's everything in moderation and stuff, and finding that balance within and being able to tread those waters and stuff. So we definitely salute you for your work and your accomplishments and stuff. There was one last sidebar that was sent in by Trio as well. Also, he said he was recently on the No Limit reunion tour for a couple of dates. What was that like? And was there any talks of you do the, I guess, more extended dates on the tour?
They ruthless. We in WA. So, you know, yeah, you know, my name popped up in a few places, and just like anything else, and just, you know, here again, story of my life, I was invited to that one date. He had 2 minutes on stage, wasn't invited back to the tour. You know what I mean? And it wasn't, you know, everything was lovely. We were supposed to reconcile a whole lot of stuff. And like I say, it's still no bitterness and bad blood. We got our indifferences, as much as I can say on the situation. That, you know, different things kind of popped up from different places. Never direct, you know, it's a whole lot to that. So before I just kept up with what was going on, I exited, stayed left. You know what I mean? I didn't like how the business and how, you know, how it's been presented. You know what I mean? And you know, so on and so forth. So basically that, man, to make a long story short, man, yeah, I didn't like how it was going down. I had different ideas with the application. Okay. Again, man, the road out like a true cowboy.
Yeah, the last outlaw, man, you know, how nigga what?
That part. Yes, sir.
So before we wind down, is there anything you want to let the people know to look out for, and where can everybody find you on like social medias?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for starters, man, y'all go check out that There Is a God album. I ain't just toot my own horn either. It's a album that I feel, for a spiritual healing from a come as you are standpoint. You know what I mean? The way it's what we call the ghetto or gangster gospel. You see what I'm saying? The first time I did a record with no curse words, but you're not gonna even know it. You see, by the time you recognize it. Shouts out to the whole Carleon Found Trapdoor Entertainment. The Trapdoor Entertainment. The participants and producers of the record, man, I let it speak for itself. Google it or what have we for starters. But for those that's looking for me on Facebook, it's the Young Bleed fan page on Facebook, on Twitter, it's that Real Young Bleed, on Instagram, it's the Real Young Bleed, EPAT, Real Young Bleed. And anything else, man, here again, you can Google me on Trapdoor, ENT.com, it's the website and the label, as well as shouts out to my people over at Banging 832 Radio, man. I'm part of a podcast broadcast station worldwide as well. So salute to y'all. Banging832radio.com. 7 days a week, daytime, nighttime. I appear on Tuesday, Thursday night. Shout out to Southern Bell and High Risk. On the Southern Bank, man. What I'm trying to say. So, they take off Tuesday, New Music Tuesday, you know what I mean? And Throwback Thursday, man, and that's 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and 4 p.m. Pacific, man. So y'all check that out throughout the week. Basically that, man, just staying in it, man. It's a whole lot, man. I'm not trying to be long, but it's a whole lot of things in the way, man. We're getting ready for the New Year's. And the rebirth of Trapdoor Entertainment on a compilation called Welcome to the Trap. Sometimes we get aiming at January, February, and be the early release for the year. But other than that, stay tuned, man. We got it coming.
No doubt, man. Before we exit out there, we usually ask people like five name word association or a hip hop word association. So I'll ask you 5 names, and you just give the first things that come to mind or any experiences on the people. So number 1, we've got Mr. Magic.
Oh wow, a lot of things, man. Yeah, a lot of things. That was the 2 brothers. We literally rode the wave together, man. All but coast to coast, definitely the Gulf Coast. So that's another brother that I was near and dear to. I miss my brother, much love and respect. But a million stories, man. We'll have to open up a chapter on Magic, man. Crazy thing. We mentioned I smoke, I drank earlier, and initially Coach Slim was aimed to be on that record. And me and Magic left the studio about 4 or 5 in the morning. So please, I'm on the 3rd verse when we first did it. It was just us. And we would take it in our shows and leak it on the crowd. Every time we left a show, they said, next week, y'all, so the Slim coming. I had met Slim face to face once in life at the No Limit facility out here in Baton Rouge. So, right quick. But the time passed by, and we coming out the studio working on an album together, man. Magic was at the time, so we didn't get to finish. There's a few records around. Let's see what I can get my hands on, probably present that to the public, hopefully. Benefit of my man, so far, but we coming out the studio. He said, man, you know what? I'm gonna put Slim on that record. I said, yeah, man, that's who you put on the record for the 3rd verse. That'd have been the first Soldier Slim, Systematic, and Bleed record. It's gonna be beautiful. Call me soon. I'm going to New Orleans in the morning. Go record. I said, you call. Only you do it, I want to see. Somewhere that next day, anywhere between 2 and 4 that afternoon, with a phone call. It's still daytime. It was mad. After I get up to that, so I got a he got the job. I said, man, y'all did it, where it's at. He said, man, Pimp D was murdered that fast. A 24-hour span. I was on our world. He had no idea. Maddie was coming from Baton Rouge back to New Orleans. So that's one of the deepest magic stories, off the grid. But, we got 1 million theaters in Florida, man. So I love the Western heaven to people on our way.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Rest in peace. We've also got next up Lloyd Jones Jr.
Yeah. You hear what I said? All the way to Florida. So shouts out to big brother Roy Jones, man, and Pete Cole out there, man. So yeah, a lot of us Magic actually put me and Roy together all the way. You know what I'm saying? Because that was his man for a long time. I used to hear rumors that Roy wanted to meet me. But my stepfather, his favorite fighter at Roy time was Roy. You see what I'm saying? I'm from the Mike Tyson times, and now I started getting into Roy. I told my coach, say, hey man, look at this boy Roy Jones Jr. He on your ass, you know what I mean? And that I watched it, for a long time. No idea I'd meet him in life. It's funny how something happened. But he's another near and dear one. Nothing but love, crazy love. Threw me out there 1 million times to the special life of New York. So him and his kids, his family, invited to the house up close and personal. Everybody can't come to the house, that kind of stuff. So yeah, much love to Roy as well. Always the champ, always will be better like me.
All right, cheers, man. Cheers to that. Next up, we got another Baton Rouge artist, NBA Youngboy.
I want to say we some indirect family. My first kid's mother, you know what I mean? She related to them, all them. I'm cool with a lot of people with the family. I went to high school with his mother. We knew each other real young, but I hadn't saw, so much, I can't really get into it. They're real in the field, and I was kitty, so it been efforts that people then tried to put us together initially. It should have happened, you know what I mean? We'd have been close around and just had never initially met each other. But I'm aware, I am. We are BRGANGSGER. Yeah. That's out the NBA and just a crazy evolution and so on and so forth. But top standards with long line of hip hop, but the hip hop part of it and where the music been grew to again. Non-existent at one point, all was non-existent.
Yeah. Next up, we got Max Minnelli.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean. He was the baby boy. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like I said, I gave you a quick briefing of me and Max. I just talked to Max maybe a few weeks ago. We had our in and out over the years, big brother, little brother shit. It's always love on mama. You know what I mean? My mother, his mother, rest in peace. So on and so forth. So we go way back to sleeping in. I used to go, across the river to Irwinville, where we deal with stay at the crib. To my first plane, different things like that. And just from 19 to 20 years old, as far as flight. I'm a guy scared of heights, different things like that. So it's a lot of evolution with Max, in a crazy way. We fit hand in glove almost just due to our evolution. And me and Churchill, not necessarily nobody to be like me, but I wanted to, you got to think like this. I'm the kid. You got player hating those niggas. Mine, it's all about me. But I'm looking at who younger than me gonna be able to do the same shit I was doing. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, I got sons and grandsons. You know what I mean? So I always been a team player. Like I said, I didn't start off the degree and the love of money for hip hop and the culture, the love of music, the spirit that has survived that struck me when it opened my eyes to wow, this is my life. It's kind of open up another door. I never look back. So certain people you see and feel that in, he was one of the kind of one that other kind of feel that. But I know So yeah, got all that. Yeah, there we go. Right.
And lastly, before to wind us off, we got our Southern hip hop legend, Scarface, Mr. Scarface.
Oh man, big bro. That's big bro right there. Same kind of man, it's funny things. You'd be surprised who know each other. Name of the game, 6 degrees of separation. Ain't what you know is who you know. Me and Face, we done met a few times and talked a few times. He's one of my favorites. To me, the godfather of rap for the whole South. You see what I'm saying? He talk rap mafia bosses and dons, lyrical. Yeah, Face will wear that crown since the 80s for me, for that. And it's and I don't say that to say nothing, but just, just keeping that whole sticking to his script all these years, man. You know what I mean? And just, a lot come to mind, and that's like next door neighbor to Texas. So I'm a Face diehard fan since the Ghetto Boys. You see what I'm saying? Since the first Mr. Scarface. You know what I mean? The South Side of Houston picture in front of the apartment shit, the Napa Cell record. So, I can start with that and go Chopless and Stones. You ain't bar for bar, pound for pound for life with Face, man. As far as the South, and being one of those spitters, and you hear what I say since the 80s, when we wasn't being recognized. It wasn't for rapper like the Ghetto Boys or Luke Skywalker and the True Lives, too. True spitters. You know what I mean? The essence of the word, a hard carnage, from not being nobody but what's yeah. So yeah, my hat always go off the Face. When you talk Face, but that's you talking Houston. But we could go North Texas and talk to DOC, and that's a whole nother part 2 chapter we'll have to get into. You see what I'm saying, my brother? So but as far as the greatest spitters, as far as the South, as solo rappers from that time, before we get into Outkast, and you know what I mean? It's a whole nother. We 11 states down here.
We start opening different chambers, but I got. But we definitely appreciate you tapping in, answering the fan questions and stuff, and taking time, to join us. We encourage everybody to definitely go out and check out your new material, and to stay abreast of what was the website again you said for the label?
TrapdoorENT.com, man, all day.
There we go, TrapdoorENT.com. So we definitely appreciate it. It's your boy Fonzie, represents BoutItOnline.com. Salute, support, and we'll be back soon. Peace. Peace, family. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check us out on BoutItOnline.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook for exclusive playlists and social media for all different types of segments and content.